Hello, my name is Kiriath, and today we are going to take a look at all-time smug prick Lucius and the new Chaos Space Marines Combat Patrol. We're doubling up today, we're doubling up on subjects because we had to take a look at the new model of Lucius for the Emperor's Children in Horus Heresy, but also there is a cool Combat Patrol for the Chaos Space Marines that is a bit different to the previous one. Well, quite a bit different, in fairness. It's really quite dissimilar in some ways. So, this particular model, this is Lucius of the Emperor's Children. This is pre his Lucius the Eternal form that we see in Warhammer 40k, but this model has got some really cool nods to that. So, this is after the Emperor's Children have started their slide into depravity and excess, but before he goes full Immortal Warrior. If you don't know the story behind the 40k version of Lucius, who this dude obviously becomes over time, he can't lose a fight. At least, if he gets killed in a fight, the person who killed him, if they feel any sort of pride or satisfaction, he, pushes his way out of them. They effectively become him, and they become just a face trapped in his armour screaming for all eternity. It's pretty hardcore, and it's pretty grim in a way as well. Unsurprisingly, it is 40k after all. Also means that he's kind of cheating. Slash just won't let him die. So, really, is he that good? That's a question that's left up to you, the viewer, I think. I don't think he's actually that good, to be honest. He's an interesting character, but if you are getting brought back to life effectively by a god every time you get your arse kicked, that to me, that's cheating, alright? I'm just going to say it. That's kind of cheating. I don't know that that is legitimate, but whatever. This is his 30k model, and it has some cool little nods. It has some cool little things on it. So, he has the screaming face on the belt buckle, which I really like. There's also, nods towards the slip into the more kind of excess side of the Emperor's Children as they start to fall more heavily into Slash's grasp. You got things like the leather straps around the thigh on one side. You've got those leather straps on the outside of the armour, kind of going down from chest to waist, which totally superfluous, don't serve any function, but it's just there to add, just add more. It's just all about more, really. You've got that kind of weird, filigree going on the chest as well. Again, it's just ornamentation, it's just there to look fancy. I can't tell whether it goes all the way across the chest, whether it's on one side. I think it's across the entire chest plate. So, just little nods towards that slow slide. The sword that he's holding, not the main sword, the other one, the one that looks kind of like the blade that Fulgrim's holding, got a nice little, whip pattern almost on it, which, given that Lucius in the future ends up using a whip as one of his main weapons, again, it's just a nice little nod to that. This model, of course, also depicts him having plenty of scars across his face, which is something that he started doing, having lost I think it was it against Tarvitz that he got punched in the face and he technically lost that bout, or was it Logue? I forget who it was that decked him in the gob, but he got decked in the gob and he didn't like it and ended up scarring himself effectively because he lost, which, yeah, it's like his face had already been ruined and he was very vain about it. You can kind of see where the descent into Slanesh worship and extremity came from, can't you? I think overall this is a solid model and I do like it. My main reservation with this is the lower half of him. So the legs have a very, very similar pose to Saul Tarvitz, right? So you can see right there, it is almost the same. It's not 100%. One of the legs is slightly more turned out, one of the feet is slightly more turned out. And of course you've got bonding studs on one shin as opposed to the decoration that's on Saul's. But that's two characters for this same legion that have got essentially the same pose from the waist down, which I would just like a bit more variation. I'd just like a little bit more variation when it comes to that. It also doesn't help that while they do have a difference in the leather straps hanging down from the front, they also have that same kind of leather strap detail, even if the ends aren't the same. It's just one of those things where it's not a deal breaker, but it would have been nice to have some variation given that these are two very prominent characters within the Legion, and these two very prominent characters have a very prominent similarity when it comes to their posing. That's the only thing I'm not sure about when it comes to this model. I actually like the rest of it. I think it looks good. Now, the Combat Patrol of the Chaos Space Marines, we know that the Greater Possessed that showed up in Half of Shadowspear, those are not Greater Possessed anymore, they are just Possessed. And there are 5 new Possessed sculpts coming. And they have reworked this particular combat patrol. So previously, the combat patrol for Chaos Space Marines was half of Shadowspear. That's effectively what you got. You got the Venom Crawler, the Great Possessed. You got the... oh, what was it? The Malefica Sorcerer, whatever the hell that guy was. The dude that looks like he's off the cover of a heavy metal album. That guy. Now, we've got a different take on a combat patrol. So you've got a squad of Havocs. You have got the Hellbrute in the back there. You've got a squad of Chaos Space Marines, and you have got a Dark Apostle, I believe it is, along with his Book Boy and his weird sensor bearer guy as well. I have to admit, I actually prefer this combat patrol. Now, technically, I think you're getting less in it than you did in the previous one in terms of like. Well, I say in terms of value, it's a bit hard to judge because there was also the Obliterators in that previous box as well. But this feels more like a cohesive introduction. I mean, essentially, you have got your HQ, you've got some troops, you've got a heavy support, you've got the Hellbrute, which I believe is also heavy support. But, like, this feels like a more coherent start than the previous one. I feel like this has got more of a theme to it, almost. With the previous one, it was just half of a box, half of a big box, that they just shoved into a smaller one and went, there you go. Have that. With the changes to Possessed coming in, this feels like a little, I don't know, this feels like a little bit more easy to get to grips with if you're just starting out. Admittedly, if you double up with this one, then you're going to end up with 2 of the same HQ, which maybe isn't great. But I think overall, this is pretty solid. This is a pretty good intro to Chaos Space Marines. It's pretty simple, it's pretty clear, and you've got some good flexibility in here. If you did grab 2 of them, then you would be able to do a squad of up close and a squad of range when it comes to the Chaos Space Marines themselves. You would be able to kit out your Havocs in a decent mix of stuff. You could focus on anti-tank or anti-infantry if you wanted to. 2 Hellbrutes might not be particularly like competitive, I don't believe, but they're not bad, and they good-looking models as well. The Venom Crawler, I think, is a little bit more. I really like it, but that definitely feels like more of a left field option, I guess, for a start collecting, for me anyway. And if you compare it to like the Loyalist side of things when it comes to the combat patrols for, say, the Space Wolves, Dark Angels, Black Templars, I mean, if you look at these, it feels like it matches these a lot better. With these, you have like, you essentially have your core squad. Then you've got, in the case of the Wolves, you've got some Reavers, but then you've got the Invictor. When it comes to the Dark Angels, you've got a core squad, you've got some heavy support, you've got the Redemptor. When it comes to the Black Templars, you've got a core squad, you've got your Neophytes in there as well, but then you've got the tank along with it, even down to the Grey Knights. Like, these feel a lot closer to this than they felt to the previous combat patrols. So I think in terms of making them all kind of on par in terms of what to expect from them, I think this is a decent step personally. And of course, it being a combat patrol, it'll cost 85 quid, which if you get it from the third-party retailer, will cost significantly less, like Element Games for instance, and it'll be a discount off buying all the stuff separately, no matter whether you get it from Games Workshop or third-party. So there we go, that's what we've got today. We've got Lucius, we've got this particular combat patrol. We're going to have a chat about a different combat patrol tomorrow because it's not great, but that would make this video very long and even more disjointed than it already is. So, thank you very much for watching. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Do you like the look of Lucius? Do you like the lad? Let me know what you think. In the meantime, feel free to click all the things, Patreon, video, subscribe, that stuff. Click if you like, don't click if you don't want to. And as always, there's an affiliate link in the description for Element Games, which you can use to support the channel if you'd like. I leave it in your capable hands. Thank you very much for watching. I will see you next time.